Hi Ellie, how are you
Hi.
today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Great, have a seat.
Thanks.
So what's been going on for you lately?
Lots of schoolwork.
Yeah,
Yep.
how are you feeling about school right now?
Well, I'm still in school, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stress level's a little high?
A little bit. It's going down now. Everything's starting to decrease near the end of the semester, so.
That's good. I know that January is an exciting month. It's placement month. Where are you going for that?
The McPhee Center.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool. I don't know anything about them. What do they do?
So it would be an after-school programs for adolescents and teenagers, and so it would be kids who are struggling in school and don't really see a future career. So like this would give them more options, but with the arts, so like photography and music and
Cool.
even like they do recording and everything. So that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm really excited.
I bet it sounded
Yeah.
like you were really
I
excited
am
even
really
just
excited.
talking about it. It must be that's in the city, isn't it?
Yes, Dartmouth.
Yeah. So are you feeling pretty comfortable with like the driving and stuff
Yeah,
going
I got
there?
GPS, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's.
If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be.
Yeah. So I brought you here today kind of just to talk about images. What was your overall thoughts about images?
I did it twice. So the first time through was pretty good. Good information because I was the only one who had like the information with like checking the boxes in the discussion. So I found it was good and interesting the first time through. The second time through, I was quite anxious to finish it because towards the end I was getting pretty antsy. Just wanted to have it over and done with. So.
And was that because you didn't like images as a whole, or you just wanted to get it finished?
Images, I like it was okay. It wasn't like I understand the importance of doing it, but I didn't really enjoy it. And I also just wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
For you, was it more of a grades aspect thing than a understanding the content of images?
During the process, it was more the grades, and then at the end, I could see growth or like areas I needed to work on. So I didn't notice that until after I was done. So.
Do you feel like you had an advantage over some of the other people in the class where you said you had the boxes that you could check off?
Yes, I do, because I think that it got me thinking more and like different perspectives than other people had the chance to do so.
Interesting. Yep. So as you were going through, was there anybody that really triggered you in a way? And now when I say trigger, it doesn't mean that it has to be like a negative or a positive.
Okay. But I think his name was Gerald. He was an olderish man, and he was like, do you know who I'm talking about?
Run me through him.
Okay, he was an older man. There was problems within the workplace, and then he was brought in. So like this had been a regular occurrence. He was brought in to be talked to, and he had like very much of a victim attitude, and like very sporadic with his reactions to questioning.
Interesting. So, what were some of those reactions that he had?
It started off with, I can't remember, kind of like like what did I do wrong this time? And then it went into a defensive, like, well, no one ever listens to me. And then it went into avoidance, trying to avoid the whole topic, like, so. Yeah.
Interesting. How did you feel as the person talking with Gerald?
At first I was like thinking, okay, I just like need to use my CYC skills. So I was like, okay, use some active listening and empathy. But then as I went through it, I found him getting very agitated, and I found that if this was a reaction that he had to answering questions, then maybe this wasn't the best place for him to work.
Okay.
If he's working with children, I think it was a group homework and something with children. As like if he's working with children, he can't have this attitude. This is something problematic.
Yeah. So your agitation, was your agitation because of the things that he was saying or the attitudes that he was having?
Maybe both. I feel like because of the attitude he had, the way he was speaking, like it was together. I think the attitude was the underlying thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So why were you brought to Gerald? What about Gerald made you flag him as someone to talk about?
Because he displays a lot of behaviors that someone in my life has, and so I found that I was triggered because, in a negative way, because of his behaviors.
Interesting. When you say that there's someone in your life that presents those behaviors, how do you act towards them?
I don't have a relationship with them anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So within my studies, I learned about a doctor named Murray Bowen,
Mm-hmm.
and he talks about emotional cutoff, is what I'm kind of hearing from you. So something that Bowen talks about is that he, with an emotional cutoff, you just like cut them off so you don't have to deal with their anxieties or stressors.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that in saying that you don't have a relationship with that person anymore, would did you cut them off because you didn't want to deal with those behaviors, or was there more that was going on?
I feel like there was more. I know that um, with this person, they were very emotionally abusive towards me and my loved ones. So I feel like I needed to cut the relationship because I just didn't want to deal with that and all the stuff that that person was bringing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if you had somebody like Gerald in your workforce, I know that you said that you would feel that they didn't belong in that setting. What would your actions be with having Gerald in your workforce?
Try to avoid them as much as possible, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't want. I try to limit the amount of time I had to spend with that person.
So in saying that and avoiding them, do you feel that that would create a safe space for wherever you were working, your other coworkers, other people within the office?
I'm not sure. I feel like on the surface, I portray a almost unbiased opinion towards people. So, but then as people get to know me, then they'll see like what bothers me and what doesn't, and like what behaviors I don't accept. So I think that in the beginning it wouldn't be a problem. I could like fake it till I make it kind of thing. But I feel like as it went on, it would be a problem.
Interesting. So when it became that kind of problem, what do you think you would do?
I really don't know. I feel like unfortunately, I feel like I'm just gonna have people I don't get along with in the workplace. It's evident. That's just gonna happen. So I think that yeah, I just have to continue with my own healing journey, and I think that I think I can use that as a role model to other like people and the kids. But I think that yeah, I need to make sure I have things worked out or like have myself under control so that I don't. The last thing I'd want to do would be to blow up in front of kids or something because that's not what I want to do.
Now you say that there's people that you wouldn't get along with, but within you saying and talking about your family relationship and Gerald, are you sure that you wouldn't get along with Gerald, or you wouldn't be able to tolerate Gerald?
Tolerate.
Tolerate. So tolerating to me is very different than getting along with.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel that some of the actions that you would put toward Gerald would be in a negative fashion?
I feel like that would depend on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just from watching the video, we would disagree a lot, and I don't know if that's just temperaments or if it's because he's doing something wrong or like I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think that could be the problem.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So as the videos went on with Gerald, did you feel that the emotions and things happening within yourself were changing?
Yes.
How?
I feel like I became very I feel like I had to control. I was always having to like control myself because I feel like with some of the interactions, I feel like I wouldn't have to. Like I wouldn't really be worried about my reaction. But with this, I feel like I would have to be very guarded when I was speaking with him, so that I wouldn't do something that I would regret. Like even though I don't really like him, I wouldn't want to do anything that could harm a relationship. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. So in saying that, would there be anything that you would do before talking to Gerald?
Um, Probably. Can't think of anything really, but I feel like I would, if I was close to a certain coworker, maybe I would get them to come with me, or if not, then I would just do my best to like do belly breaths or like keep myself calm and just go into it, but go into it with a mindset of if I accomplish something, that's the good thing, but if not, like just not to have a goal set that I'm going to accomplish anything, that's something, or that we're going to work this out necessarily, or like maybe have in my mind that we would accomplish, just being able to understand his feelings, and then we could move on into the actual issue.
Interesting. You talk about understanding his feelings. Do you feel that when you're in this situation and you talk about maybe not being able to tolerate Gerald or anything like that, do you feel like you could understand what he was feeling if you couldn't tolerate him?
I feel like that also depends on the situation. Yeah.
So look at the videos that you had to do, and do you feel like you'd be able to understand what it was that Gerald was going through?
Possibly. I feel like it would be safer if I had someone with me who could shed light on the perspective more, like on his perspective more. Yeah.
Because I know that within the video, it goes from him putting blame on himself to trying to put blame on others and then trying to avoid it at all costs. But for me, when I watched them, it seemed like there was an underlying thing that was happening with Gerald, almost as if there was like a personality disorder kind of thing, or mood swings or something like that. Did you pick up on any of those things when you were watching?
No, the most I would have picked up on would have been a self-confidence issue, but or something that happened in the past. But due to my own experiences, I don't have very much empathy for Gerald.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if you don't have much empathy for Gerald, and you were in that kind of situation, do you feel like you would be able to engage in a civil conversation with Gerald? And I say civil as in thinking back to your family member where you don't have any relationship or connection with them, and if you were able to speak with them, would it be in a matter that would be friendly, or would it be targeting and controlling?
I feel like it would be, I don't think I would be controlling, but it wouldn't be friendly. I feel like it would just be cold and to the point, and like very much straight to the point and factual more than emotional based. Yeah.
And in thinking of those videos with Gerald, do you think that would be the best approach?
No, I don't think so.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which is, I don't think I'd be the best person to be talking to this person.
Yeah.
So
if you don't think it'd be the right approach, what do you feel would be the right approach, even though it may not be something that you would do?
I think it would probably be to empathize and to empathize, and then to see what was going on with Gerald, and then get to the problem. Like maybe take care of his problem first, and then we could get to the situation's problem. So like I feel like I can see it from a non-biased point of view when I'm not in the situation. But if I'm in the situation, I feel like I would handle it much differently than just talking about it hypothetically.
Interesting. If you were in the workforce with Gerald, do you feel as if you would portray a meaning onto the kids that you wouldn't want to?
You mean about Gerald to the children?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I know the kids pick up on a lot more than I know. But I feel like even that with work and stuff, I'm pretty good at, even though I'm not a fan of a certain coworker, I still am able to act in a way to support them when I have children present, because I know that my opinion doesn't matter. What matters is that the child sees consistency and supporting each other. So I feel that's what I would do. With my community on that. Yeah.
So as you were doing images with Gerald, you kind of mentioned that some of your feelings changed within how you were going along. Was there an overarching and underlying feeling that you had? So you said like you couldn't tolerate him and you got aggravated, but is there, I feel like those would be overarching feelings that kind of you are aware of, but was there anything underlying that got to you?
I don't really know how to answer that question. You mean like based on my past experiences?
Yeah.
Okay. I know that I know, like, because of like self-reflection and what like I've learned through class, is that my underlying issue is I am hurt from due to like that other person I was talking about. So I know that the underlying issue is I'm hurt, and I still need to heal.
Yeah.
I am, but it's not to the point where I can be in relationship with anybody. With Gerald traits. So I think that that would be
interesting. So what you said that mentioned that this was a negative triggering video for you. Overall, after watching Gerald's video, did you have a different perspective on images?
No, I think that it was. I think that it was part that it did help me see that I do have a lot of things to still work through. That I still have a lot of triggers that I need to learn how to manage. I think that I am doing better. That doing the images has shown me that I am doing better than I thought I was doing with my own stuff. But I think that it was just part of the overarching thing. So
The second time that you watched images, when you got to Gerald, did it flag just the same amount of emotions, or did you feel like you rushed through Gerald to get him out of the way?
I don't really remember. I feel like when I first saw it, I like kind of laughed and was like, "Oh, it's this guy again." Or, like the guy I can't take seriously. Like, that's it. And I was like, But I already knew what to expect, so I was expecting to like, oh, I know what this guy's end game is. I'm not gonna listen to what he has to say. Like I already had that mindset because I had seen it before.
So you have the mindset of you're not gonna listen to what he has to say. So if you were in the workforce with Gerald and he came up to you, or with any one of Gerald's traits, and he kind of came up to you, and do you feel like you would actually listen to what they had to say, or would you have that mindset, I already know what his end game is, I'm not gonna listen to him?
Don't really know. I haven't really been in a situation like that yet. I don't really know because I haven't been in that situation.
Interesting. Putting it into that kind of perspective of not listening, what do they have to say, do you think that you'd be able to be self-aware that that was happening within that moment for you?
I don't know if I would necessarily the first time, but I think that because I've been practicing self-awareness, I would be more quick to do it now than I was a year and a half ago. So I think that I would be quick to do it. I've also been able to quickly notice certain triggers that I've had and like, okay, I'm feeling this because of this. And then I can, at least I know what it is. It doesn't always help me in the moment, but at least I know what is going on for me. And like that maybe I need to change my approach because maybe I'm being too defensive or I'm being too attacking or whatever.
So within your images, you were able to come up with your own summary, and then there was a final summary. Did you feel or know that the final summary was the same as yours in the sense of Gerald?
I just wrote out my final summary, and then when I went to the actual one, a lot of what I had written down or thought actually was present in the final summary.
Interesting.
Like my thoughts of him having a victim attitude, or so I was like acting like a bad little boy kind of thing. That was in the actual summary.
Interesting.
So I know that my gut was telling me the right thing, but I know that I need to be careful that my gut is not just my triggers. I need to be able to differentiate between the two.
How do you think you'll be able to differentiate between the two?
I know when I have gut feelings, I can feel it. And I can also feel when I have triggers and they feel different. I don't really know how else to explain it.
Nope, that makes sense.
But but sometimes I do know that my triggers and my gut just get kind of like mixed up.
Yeah.
So just I notice that if I let so like if I'll have a gut reaction, but then I think about it more, then the triggers start to come in and it can cloud my gut feeling.
Yeah.
So I think just being able to go with the initial
Instead
feeling
of
is
thinking about it more.
Yeah, just to be able to go with that and not analyze it as much.
Interesting. So in the bottom part, it talked about moving forward. What would you do, or what would you recommend to your supervisor? What did you put in that section?
I honestly can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. But if I was like thinking about it now, I would, if I had a supervisor and I had told them how the meeting went, I would tell them everything that happened.
Yeah.
And then give my recommendations of maybe just if this, I think this has been like a common occurrence with this guy, so maybe to recommend some counseling for him or give him just some time off to just maybe take a break.
Yeah.
And then he might come back better. He just needed to have like a little bit of a break. Maybe he was close to burnout.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. But depending on how close I was to my supervisor, I might say that I wouldn't want to do that again.
Yeah.
Just because of my own past.
Yeah.
Which then again, they might give me some challenge, which would be healthy. So.
Interesting. Would you be willing and accepting of that challenge?
If it came from my supervisor or my coworker, yes, I think so. Sometimes I need someone to point it out to me that I need it before I actually make that change. So.
Yeah. Interesting. So I know that you brought up some like past situations and things like that, but were you comfortable in talking about that? Like, are you doing okay right now? Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah, a little uncomfortable, but nothing that.
Yeah.
Not that I would avoid it so much that I wouldn't talk about it.
Interesting. Yeah. So, well, that's all the questions that I had.
Awesome.
But thank you for coming in.
You're welcome. All right, thanks.